Hello. Hi, everyone. This is Saurabh Gupta. I'm the CEO of Edorer. Unfortunately, our speaker, Devesh, is facing some issue with his laptop with Zoom. Nevertheless, he's going to fix it and join this masterclass probably in 2 or 3 minutes. Meanwhile, I think some people are also raising hands. We also have the chat option open. We'll officially begin this masterclass the moment Devesh joins. It's going to be an exciting masterclass about data science and business analytics and how you can actually change your career and the whole roadmap that you should actually take to excel in this career. Not only if you want to work as a business analyst or a data science leader, but also in your own domain, irrespective of which stream you are in, irrespective of what your discipline is. How business analytics, how it is such, or data science, how it is such an essential staple skill for every student is what we are going to establish. We'll also be open to Q&A. You can raise your hands. You can also ask your question in person. We can put you in spotlight. You can share your video if you want. And this entire video is going to be available on our YouTube channel as well. And yes, let me quickly check. How about Devesh? I think, yes, he is here. Oh, I think he promoted someone else as well.
Hello.
Devesh, can you hear me? Okay. Guys, meanwhile, you can raise your hands. If you have any question, you can also put it on chat. I'm just pulling in Devesh here. Okay.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Am I audible?
You are audible, absolutely.
Yeah.
So great to see you.
Yeah, finally.
Take your time, take your time. The audience is loving it. They have some time. We have, I think, the kids that we have, and I think we also have some eminent university professionals as well in this masterclass. So welcome everyone to this masterclass. Meanwhile, Devesh is setting up. This is an official welcome to this masterclass. This is the first masterclass in the data science series. Before this, we had the masterclass in the AI series, and we had some amazing sessions from some amazing leaders and professors from around the world. This masterclass series, today we have Devesh, who has worked across multiple companies, established center of excellences and whatnot. I'll make an official a statement about it as well and introduce him officially. We'll have a session. We have a session tomorrow from Ritvik. He is from Amazon. After that, we have Arjun, who is again a data science leader, worked at Amazon, ExxonMobil, and Wesco now. And then we have Nandita Krishnan, who is the senior business analyst with Adobe, and the list goes on. You'll find all these details on our masterclass page, which is edorer.com/masterclass. Devesh, are you all set?
Yeah, I'm all set. Hope you guys can hear me okay.
Yes, we can hear you. Guys, you can also put anything on chat. Audio is too low for, okay, cool. So I think Avinash is saying it's good. We can hear you. Everything's good. Whose audio is low, by the way? Is it me or is it Devesh? Anybody want to put it on chat? Okay, we're good.
Okay.
Let me quickly, Devesh, there's a formal introduction. Let me quickly do that. And then the floor is all yours. Hi, guys. We know that today's speaker is Devesh Raj. Devesh is an alumnus of BIT and IIT Hyderabad. He's a seasoned leader in the field of data analytics, data science, AI, and machine learning. So he is the go-to for so many students, and he has been a mentor to so many of them. He is leading a team of applied data scientists and DS researchers, data science researchers. Besides this, he has been an AI ML mentor to many NASSCOM startups. Presently, he is the director of data science and AI at Fidelity Investments. He has also worked as data science leader at Mercedes Benz, Philips, and Bosch. So tremendous amount of experience across domains, across verticals. He has led many AI ML teams in Fortune 100 organizations, and you can see tremendous amount of accolades and the experience that he brings to the table. And this is the person who we are going to learn from, what our data science and business analytics journey should be like. He has worked across varied industries, cross-functional teams. He has a long-term international experience as well because he has worked in Switzerland, Germany, Japan, and currently he's based out of Bangalore in India. So this is a speaker. As far as the format of this masterclass is, we'll have a 60 minutes session or essentially a talk from Devesh. He'll take you through his journey. He'll also set aside what he has done, how he has achieved it, and how you as young aspirants of this domain can actually do the same. Then after that, we'll also be open to a Q&A, and you can really pour your heart out and you can ask questions, put it on the chat. We'll also run a little survey. And yeah, look forward to this exciting session. Devesh, the floor is all yours.
Thank you, Saurabh, for the kind introduction. And hi, everyone. Excited to be here with all of you. Speaking in the presence of curious minds always excites me. And as Saurabh mentioned, we'll keep it interactive. Like, feel free to stop me, ask questions. You can also put it in chat, and then we will take pauses and go through the chat and try to answer the questions. So again, as sort of mentioned, first, I have planned to first tell all of you about my journey, share it with you, and hopefully if you find anything interesting, or if you take any cues from that, you can let me know. And if you want to know more about something, feel free to let me know. And then we can discuss about how data science is applied in solving tangible business problems in different domains, right? Because ultimately you want to solve impactful business problems. So that's the other part I'll focus upon, and that will give you an idea that how data science is kind of creating an impact everywhere. So yes, let's start then. So I have, as sort of mentioned, I have an overall experience of 17 years, and I started as a stats modeler and applied statistics modeler. What that means is that, when there is a defined problem statement, and when there is lots of data, and you want to derive insights out of that, then how do you kind of crunch the data, apply statistics to derive insights? So it can be in a descriptive format. It can be in an inferential format. That means you are inferencing something out of the data. And then the next stage is that you are prescribing the stakeholder something. So that is prescriptive analytic as well, right? And we'll touch upon the predictive part later. But this was my initial part of the journey, where I worked in domains like power plants. So it was steam turbine power plant and nuclear power plant. So you would imagine that, okay, how do you apply statistics in a power plant, right? So just to spend 1 minute on that, like you would want to optimize at what angle the blades should be so that the flow across the steam turbine is maximized, right? And that's how you get more power. To simplify things, I mean, there's more to that, but this is the kind of high level and also the baseline what we are trying to optimize. So then as the industry progressed, I transitioned into advanced analytics, where the tools like R and SAS was very popular back then, so they were being used. So and I got into a company, a large MNC, where I had the good fortune to apply advanced analytics in different domains, right, from agriculture to manufacturing, production, automotive. So the underlying concepts were pretty much similar, but you have to apply those concepts to solve those business problems and then measure it. What is the impact? So that was a big learning curve for me. And after that, in the industry, there was this recognition of what data science can do that was growing. So the companies started gathering more and more data. And that's how the concept of deep learning also came into picture. One thing to add here is that as the industry was growing, we were also getting richer in terms of computational capabilities. When I say we, I mean industry as a whole. So with the advent of strong computational capabilities, and on the other side, you have large data being churned out, then came the concept of deep learning, where you can build like really deep neural networks and then derive insights from these large chunks of data, right? So at that time I was working in a healthcare company where my job was to work on both text and images and solve problems for the company. So one such problem is that by looking at the image of the cell, can you find out whether the cell is benign or cancerous, right? And that whole solution will then be deployed, and that can be used by the downstream team. So like obviously there'll be human in the loop, the experts, medical experts will be there to analyze that, but the initial the initial assessment can be done by the algorithm. That makes the job much more easier and quicker. So that was on the healthcare part. And then I transitioned into FMCG space, where the problem statements were quite different, where the marketing teams, the brand managers, they would want to understand things like, okay, what would be the sales like in the next 2 quarters, and then which territory is kind of more likely to buy these products. So then you have to build models like propensity models, cross-sell, upsell models. And then I leverage something called Bayesian machine learning, which is another form of machine learning, but it is much more explainable, where it allows you to see what is driving the target variable, right? The cause and effect. I'm simplifying it. There is a technique called causal inference in machine learning. So that is like leveraged quite well in Bayesian machine learning. So that is something we leveraged in that particular, like those set of use cases. So this has been my journey from stats to advanced analytics to deep learning, and now Gen AI, because I mean, I'm sure almost all of you would have heard about this term Gen AI. Now, so I would say that like it started becoming popular last year, but the seeds have been sown in like around 2018, when Google came up with that paper, Attention is All You Need. And it came up with BERT model, right? So that really set the ball rolling, because after that, like there was GPT-2, and then there were other, like a plethora of decoder only models. So that really kind of exploded the scene. So now, I mean, most of you would be using some of Gen AI tools, at least like Microsoft Copilot, ChatGPT. So what this has done is, like, this has actually democratized AI, right? So now the bar to use AI has become much, much lower. And that's quite good, actually, because then AI is slowly becoming mainstream. And folks can actually see the benefits of AI by actually using them. So I'll just give you an example. Now, you don't have to be a master's or a PhD in computer science or in stats to start applying Gen AI, right? There are tools which are there, which you can leverage in your day-to-day work. And provided you have a good grasp of what you are to solve, and if you have a good grasp of, okay, this is the problem statement and this is how I'm going to start approaching it, if you can list it down appropriately, adequately, then a Gen AI tool can give you a good head start. And if you have defined it well, tools like GitHub Copilot can even go ahead and solve it for you, right? So all I'm trying to say is that now you should not feel that, okay, I don't have a master's in a particular subject, right? So will that deter me from going into this space? No. So most of you would have exposure to data in your firm or your institute. So there are tools by which you can crunch that data and get the insights which is required for your job or your subject. So that's the bottom line which I want to convey. Now, there is one section which I would want to touch upon is the problem solving section, because that cannot be automated, at least not till now and not in medium distant future. Unless, like, suppose like 5 years down the line, if we achieve AGI, which OpenAI is trying to aim at, then maybe things might be different. But up until then, like, folks who are really good in converting the business problem into a solvable problem, which can be solved by data science and by crunching the data. And if you can box that problem, then that is a skill which is not something which is readily available. But if you have the intuition for it, you can develop that skill, and that is really something which is in high demand right now, right? Because, as I said, that is not automatable. I'll give you an example, right? So suppose e-commerce company, right? So most of us use like e-commerce products. So suppose an e-commerce company is like facing a lot of issues in trying to meet the demand, right? So they're not able to deliver products on time. There are continuous delays. Now, the manager of that team, which is to meet those demands of the consumers, they come to you as an expert in data science, and they say that, hey, I'm facing these issues of delays in delivery. Can you solve this problem for me? Right. So any one of you, can you at least try to think and tell that, okay, this is a large problem, like there are delays. Okay. So what is it that you will try to solve, right? Can you think and just let the audience and me know, like, what are some of the things you will try to solve? And then, I mean, we might go into the solution quickly, but that's not that important as much as to identify the problem, and then how do you kind of convert that into a data science problem. So that is something which we at Edorer want to kind of encourage you guys to think how to solve the problem and break it down into steps. And then there are tools available to solve it, right? So anyone would want to take a stab at this problem statement? Like, there are delays happening in this e-commerce company, and they want to kind of solve it. So what's the problem, and what do we need to solve here?
Devesh, we have some responses in the chat.
Okay, yeah, I can see that now. Okay, reduce the waiting time. Good. And sorry, I have not been reading. So okay, I think we have good set of responses. So let's take one of them, right? Reduce the waiting time, right? Have inventory options in local. Yeah, forecasting, as Rohit is saying. Okay, so we have like all of you. I think some of you have been working on in this space. Then, I mean, I'm very glad. Uh, okay, then now let me take a stab and see if I'm making sense. Okay, so see, there can be like at least 3 to 4 things which can be solved. I'll focus on the simpler ones first. One is proper demand planning, right? So even in demand planning, there can be multiple sections, but I'll focus on one which one of you mentioned, forecasting, right? So if we are to forecast appropriately, like what will be the demand coming for these set of items, then we can adequately kind of provision for that, right? Provision for that demand. Because just to give you an example, like demand also has seasonality. Like in certain parts, like Amazon sales day, or big billion sale from Flipkart, for example, like there the demand would peak, and then in festival season the demand would peak, right, just before that. So if we can focus those things, because these are like not very difficult to predict, you'll have previous time period sales, right? So that is one. Maybe they are not kind of predicting that demand appropriately. And once you have done that, then if you can appropriately cater to that using capacity planning, like optimal capacity planning, because it might be the case that some folks are flooded with delivery kind of demands, but there are folks where the demand is like 80%, 90%, they have capacity. So how do you optimize for that capacity? Else, if everyone is like 110%, then I mean, there's another issue that you have to then hire more for that particular period, maybe, right? So, and that's what some of the companies do. So these are some of the A's and B's of problem statements where you have to break it. And then say if you have to solve the forecasting problem, then there are tools available, right? So that's how we try to solve a bigger problem and break it down and then solve these problems, right? So I'll give you some like two very simple. I should not say simple. It was when I was trying to tackle it, it created a big impact. But hopefully it should drive the point that sometimes simple use cases also kind of create a big impact. So long back, like there was a production use case where like to kind of check whether the component is going to pass or not, one had to do 17 tests, 1 7, and they were sequential in nature. And some of the tests were really expensive, right, and time taking. So now the business stakeholder wanted to understand whether at the end of ninth step or 10th step itself, can we predict whether the component is going to pass or fail, right? So that we can do away with the remaining tests and save time, save effort and money for those 10, like 7, 8 steps, right? So any suggestions how we can do this? Any idea? And just to add to this, like this particular component is being manufactured in various parts of the world. So if you solve this problem in one part, you'll be saving the cost effort in other geographies as well. So that's how impactful it is, right? So can you take a stab at how we can do this, or at least frame the problem, like what we need to do here? So think in terms of like, okay, which are the, like, are some of the tests which are similar in nature in terms of correlation? Are two tests like highly correlated, right? So if suppose, okay, let me get into this part then. So this is one way. It's a very less time taking way and a very simple way. Yeah. So I think Prithvi is like exactly correct. So if one test is passed, then similar tests can be done away. Very good. So that's a good suggestion. So imagine that there are two tests where we have seen historically that they have a 95% correlation. I'm just making it up. So they have a 95% correlation. Now, one test is very expensive and time taking, the other test is not. So by common sense, we can propose that, hey, this test, like agreed that you'll have a 5% error rate, but you will be able to predict the outcome of the more expensive test. And then you can reduce that 5% error by relying on other cheaper tests. right? Because ultimately you want to find out whether the component is going to pass or fail, right? Not this test is going to pass or fail. So you can do away with that test because it is highly correlated with another test, and then you can propose this. That is one. And I'll tell you a data science approach, what we did. So this was definitely one, what Prithvi mentioned is something which definitely proved to be very useful. The second thing which we tried was that can we build a data science solution using that 9 features instead of the entire 17 tests? Can we build a solution using 9 features? So imagine this, that you have the historical data, pass, fail, fail, pass. You have that data for the components which were tested across time, right? And you also have the 17 test records. Now you remove the, like, the 7 tests or the 8 tests, you keep the 9 tests, and then you try to create a mapping. You have the features as x variables, like the input variables as the tests, the 9 tests, and then you have the target, pass, fail, pass, fail. So with that, you try to create a predictive model. So when that model is built, and I'm not getting into the solution, it can be any here, a non-linear model would do well based on the data what we had. I mean, obviously we'll have to analyze the data. Sometimes even a linear model can do very well. So then when you have built the model, you'll find that when the fresh test data comes for only 9 tests, when you pass it into the model, provided it has passed all the metrics and it is robust enough, then it can predict a very solid outcome that, hey, this particular component is going to pass or fail using the input of 9 tests only. So that is something which can be a big cost saver for the industry. Okay. Similarly, if you can predict whether the machine is going to break down within the next n days, then you can save a lot of downtime, because imagine if one machine fails, the entire production cycle gets hampered, right? So if you can predict this is going to fail, say within 20 days, then the machine experts have to be called urgently, and a maintenance of that can be done in time, and that will save a lot of downtime for production. Imagine what the cost which will be saved, like not just the breakdown which would have happened after 20 days, that cost, but the downstream production cycle, that cost is like huge. Same for the vehicles. If there's a commercial vehicle which breaks down, like the downstream cost is huge. So what we do is we fix sensors in those commercial vehicles, and that is monitored. And if we can predict beforehand that this vehicle requires maintenance, that is called predictive maintenance. That's the industry term. So if you can do that, that will really save a lot of downtime cost, right? So these are some business problems which might seem like intuitive, but if solved, like, they are really valuable for the firm. I'll give you one more problem statement, and then I'll open to further questions from all of you, because this is slightly different. Like some of you might not be knowing that data science is also creating huge impact in agriculture. So now this problem statement was that corn, like most of us eat corn, right? So corn has a production cycle of, when I say production, like produce cycle of around 100 to 120, 125 days. So now if, and the farm from which we had got the problem statement, that was a pretty big farm, and the produce was being transported to Southeast Asia, especially Singapore and US, and I think Middle East. So they were really very conscious on quality checks, but because the arrangement was also long distant, so what they wanted was that can we tell them, like say at the end of 30th day, that this con or this group of con is going to pass the quality test or not, so that they can, that will help in their kind of planning, right, and their kind of rates discussion. So, and they had all the sensors. They had the soil sensor, they had the weather sensor, they had the report of the kind of fertilizers which they are using. They had pictures taken at the end of like 5th day, 10th day, 15th day, and then 30th day. They had pictures from different angles for the corn taken, so that now after the end of 30th day, if we find that, hey, compared to the historical data, the corn which were healthy after 120th day, their snapshot at the 30th day, if that is kind of very similar to this particular corn, then we can say that there is a very high likelihood that this corn is going to turn up healthy, right? Of course, there would be a lot of variables, like there can be huge kind of rain after 30th day, and then if there is, I mean, if it's a very chilly season, there can be frost bites. So all of that can happen, but I mean, we are not, we are trying to model like in normal scenarios, not extreme weather conditions. So that was the problem statement, and this we actually built a model to kind of ascertain whether these groups of ponds are going to pass or fail, and what will be the quality like, right, after the end of 30th day, and that then helped them in their demand planning. So yeah, that was quite a different use case, but it was impactful for them, and that is still being used by that farm, by the company today, for different producers, even for other producers, not just corn. So yeah, so that was what I wanted to cover in terms of like business problems. So hopefully that should have given you a flavor of like data science is not limited to one domain, but like it is something which, if you look around yourself, right? So there will be problem statements which can be solved by data science. Like at the exterior, the problem statements might look very different, but as you would start formulating it, breaking it down, and then boxing it into a solvable problem, then you'll find that similar algorithms will be able to solve problems in different domains. And that is what I have learned over the course of my career as well, because I have worked in very different domains like healthcare, production, manufacturing, energy, now finance. So, but the underlying concepts are something which is being leveraged to solve problems in these domains. So stay focused on your fundamentals. Try to hone your thinking abilities. Try to hone your thinking abilities, and then like you'll be able to create a difference. So yeah, hopefully my audio, is it okay? I got a message from Amit that my voice is low. Hopefully all of you can hear me now. I moved closer to the mic. Okay.
Yes,
Thank you.
absolutely. Hear you. I think there are interesting questions pouring in.
Yeah.
Devesh, do you want to start the Q&A, make it more interactive? Also, we talk about the roadmap. A lot of people are asking about what's the roadmap? What's the roadmap? I'm starting my journey. Do we get into that phase now?
Sure. Yes, definitely.
Cool. So guys, I think, what Devesh has been trying to establish here is that through all the experiences, through all the examples in different domains, he has more than 1.5 decade of experience in this, and he has seen it all. How it was not even data science earlier, how there was no AI earlier, and how all of this has impacted the entire journey. So, as a learner, as a student, the approach that Devesh would have taken probably 15 years ago, and the approach that now you would take, considering the kind of resources. Today, we are talking about no coding platforms. Today, we are talking about some amazing tools which have come up. AI is growing at such a fast space. There's so many tools which already inculcate a lot of learning from data, and that is available for public to use. So all of that is has changed so much. So now I think we will try to understand that, and let me be very clear here. We understand that a lot of audience here is from students from engineering. It could be any year, first year, second year, third year, fourth year. There are students from management background, BBA, MBA, IT, BCA, MCA, and even agriculture students. Devesh gave a very good example of how data science can be used in agriculture. So the whole idea here is that irrespective of which domain or discipline you are from, you can actually be a more valuable asset to your company, or even if you're starting on your own as an entrepreneur later. This is such an important skill that having this skill will actually make you stand poles apart compared to anybody. Now, uh, Devesh, we would like to take up a few questions. Also, guys, if you have any question, please raise your hand. And if you really want to ask the question in person, I mean, like if you want to enable your video, it's fine. If you just want to enable your audio, that's fine too. Raise your hand and we will put you in the spotlight and you can ask a question. Whatever, and the queries could be around very basic queries. Like, I have no idea. I've already enrolled in some course, or I've been going through some content and I'm really perplexed and I have no idea how to take that forward. Any question that comes to your mind, please do ask those questions. uh, so Devesh, one of the questions that somebody has asked is, what first of all, I want you to break down rather, this journey of a student who is a novice, has no idea about data science, data analytics, and business analytics. What do you suggest? Where does that person start?
Yeah. Yes. So this is a very important question, and we get this quite often. So it's good that I think Razika is asking this, right? So she's sh pardon me if I'm guessing the gender not correct. So she is already doing data science. She's a final year student, and then she wants to know that what next, right? How do you kind of hone this skill further? So see, what happens is that I have to tell you one aspect which I might not have covered in my journey. So you will be coming across forums like Kaggle, for example, which has like very good data sets. You will be coming across theoretical data sets which will be curated in a way that you just have to apply the algorithm and the answers will be there in front of you. But the real challenge lies in the fact that how do you get that data in a format that it is clean enough to apply those algorithms? That's the real life problem, right? Which we face day in and day out. So when I was giving the examples, like three, four examples I gave to all of you of different domains, right? Now you would think that okay, this problem looks like a commonsensical problem. It is, right? But the problem here is that the data is very messy to start with. So, so that's one difference in the Kaggle problems and the actual problem. Now, one very good way to start is that if you can get like exposed to like actual messy data sets, right? So, I mean, some of you might be lucky to get into a good internship, right? So there, I mean, that's a good way to start, but not all of us are lucky that ways, right? So then, what do you do? So in this platform which Saurabh has created, right? So we also try to think from that perspective, like how to start from really bad data and then give the insights by working your way through that data, right? And then kind of convert it in a way that it will be helpful for business to take decisions. So that is one thing to focus on. Now, coming back to your other part of your question, like as a final year student, like you should really be kind of revising your fundamentals and then looking to get to try to solve problem in one particular domain. I mentioned multiple domains, but you have to start somewhere, right? So start trying to solve problem in one particular domain. It can be finance, it can be kind of sales, because in sales also you have cross sell upsell problem. So you will get the data from internet. Again, it might not be very messy, but you can make it little dirty by removing some of the columns, creating missing values, like inflicting missing values, etc. So that is one way of making it. That's an artificial way of making it dirty, right? I mean, so you can start there, and then you can participate in these competitions like Kaggle competition. There are other competitions like for forecasting. There are other competitions. So that way it's not to worry if you're not winning it, right? So but you get to learn from your peers who are participating in the competition, like how do you kind of solve problem using different approaches. So that's a very good learning curve. In forums like yeah, some of the forums, they also kind of share the initial steps, so that is a good way. Then like try to find a mentor, right, if that is a possibility for you, like what Saurabh and I are trying to do here. Like if you can get that mentor, he or she will be able to kind of guide you that hey, this is how you should go ahead, this is what you need to learn. Because if you'll open the internet, I mean, there are a ton of AI resources. I agree, if I was in your place, I would also have been lost, because what to study, from where to study, everyone is saying they are the best, right? So it's kind of okay to think that way, but if you can get a mentor who is able to guide, refine that knowledge, feed it to you, and then you can do the hard work in a direction manner. Yeah, so that would be my answer. I know it's a long-winded answer, but I think it needed that time.
So just to
Okay.
sum up what
So
Devesh said, Devesh, we can take the next question just to sum up. So what
sure.
Devesh is saying is that, if you really want to establish, you want to start your career, or if you're already midway uh, into learning data science and how you still can really excel at it, is one, of course, you'd start participating in Kaggle competitions. That really is very helpful. Before that, you have to set up your basics first. So maybe you can get hands to all the resources available. But of course, like Devesh said, internet is very misleading. You can really find a lot of YouTube videos and a lot of articles and blogs and content available. But again, that can really mislead. Second, like he said, participate in competitions or get access to as many resources as possible. Third, he's saying mentors. I think mentors are so important, because a mentor can actually change the whole course of your learning journey. Because the mentor doesn't actually know what you want to learn, he has also experienced that hands-on. So the mentor, and he or she is the person that you really aspire to become. You yourself want to become like that person, right? What they have achieved. So it's great when you actually learn from that person, the mistakes that the person made, uh, and all the knowledge that they've accumulated solving real life problems on their career journey, is what you get access to. So definitely, I personally believe, and I also had a couple of great mentors, and they really shaped the way I am today. And I'm sure that's the case for Devesh as well. So which is what I think, it's very important. So getting the right mentors to help you out in your journey is one of the most important things. Devesh, again, I want to stick to the basics before we actually take the tough questions. Uh, Prithvi is saying, where should I start to learn data science, and how should I proceed? I want to take this question first. Today, let's say,
Sure.
and before that, Devesh, in fact, I want you to distinguish. You are a data science leader. I want you to distinguish, to make the difference between what, because a lot of MBA students and BBA students were asking us, what's the difference between a business analyst and a data science or a data analyst? Can you please establish that difference first?
Sure, sure. Very good question. So, see, a business analytics expert or a business analyst, right? So, what they focus on doing is really solving the domain problem, irrespective of writing the solution themselves or working on the algorithms themselves, right? So, it can be like they are using something like Alteryx, for example, which is a visualization tool, but it has packages available to build models for you and then give you the insights, right? So if they think that okay, this is a segmentation problem, like a grouping problem, and then they have to make say three groups, that is all they need to kind of initiate in the tool, and the tool will make those clusters for you, and it will also kind of ascertain whether those clusters are homogeneous or not, right? And they are covering the entire population well enough or not. So all of those things will be done. So here the business analyst understood the problem well, and then kind of broke it down. What I was explaining in the earlier speech, that how do you kind of convert that into a mathematical or a analytics problem, right? So that part they have to take care. Like that, some of you answered yourself. Like when I mentioned the e-commerce problem, then you said that okay, we can do forecasting better, right? Once you have identified that, then the business analyst has to kind of use the tools which are available to kind of solve that problem. There are forecasting tools available. Now, a data scientist, coming to the second part, a data scientist, like not all problems are in formatted in such a way that they can be solved using just a library, right? So a data scientist is expected to go above and beyond than what the library has to offer, say a Python library. Suppose you have to detect a change in trend, right? I was talking about this problem of demand, right? So you have to detect that change, when that change will happen. Now, many of the libraries are not able to do that. So a data scientist will have to marry two libraries and write a small algorithm to detect that, right? So that is what is expected of a data scientist. So all of what I said about the business analyst, plus more on the algorithm side as well. But now, I mean, for those of you who are not from that algorithmic bent of mind, that is okay, because for that also now we have tools available, right? So we have things like GitHub Copilot, for example, where if you break down the problem in English language, if you write the prompts and say that build a logistic regression model, there are these limitations where the earlier model is failing, try to circumvent that. It will give you suggestions. Now you have to understand from your fundamental knowledge which of those suggestions are better and then take a call. That is where the data scientist's fundamental knowledge comes into picture, right? So these are some subtle differences. Then there is another trade which is like visual analyst, right? They work on things like Tableau, Power BI,
Even
and they are good at
AWS
storytelling
Insights these days.
because yes, thank you, Saurabh. So, so now you can be a brilliant data scientist working on algorithms, but if you're not good at storytelling, right? So the senior leaders in your firm, they might not understand what you are doing, and that might lead to frustration. Like, why are we not getting the results? Like, is the problem so hard, or what are you doing from 2 months, right? So if you're able to break it down, either visually or via verbally, kind of abstracting it in a simple way and delivering it to them, they'll be able to appreciate what you have been doing, what the algorithm is trying to solve. So that is one part which actually goes unnoticed, but it's a very important skill to have, the storytelling part. And the visualization experts are good at that. So these are some traits which are very popular in the world of data science.
Cool. I think we
Okay.
have another question again coming, staying down on the basics. So what we understand is like data science is one domain and business analytics is one domain. Prateek has a question. He's saying that I am not from coding background. And that's a very popular question. Can I actually pursue this field?
Yeah.
Can you be a business analyst or a data analyst without a coding background?
Yes, yes. Good question. I'll just expand on this question because some of you might have branches of this question, right? Sort of. So I think I can do that, right? So I'll add on this question that,
Sure.
see, there are three ingredients. Uh, so let us stick with three right now. So one is coding, one is mathematics, where you have linear algebra and differential calculus. And then the third one, which I told, is your storytelling part, right? How are you able to convey or prescribe what your code has given as output, right? So now, as I think Saurabh summed it well, where he mentioned that he started with that actually, like with the advent of low code, no code platforms, right? So we are living in a different age than where, say, I started. So that time, like we had to code some of the libraries from what you today have as libraries. We had to kind of write it in the program. So today, even those libraries are automated, right? So what I would say is that it's okay if you are not from coding background, but there are tools available. You have to actually know how to use them, right, for your solving of the problem. So that is very important because a leader, your business leader, will not care whether you have written the code from scratch or you have used, say, a GitHub Copilot. All they care about is whether you are solving his or her problem effectively and for the company effectively.
True.
What is that alpha which the company is able to get from your solving of the problem, right? And they are willing to give those tools to you, right? Because it's not a, so think of it this way, it's not an exam that, okay, if you only write the code by yourself, I mean, you will be doing a good job in solving that problem. So now, like many of the brilliant coders I know also use Google search for some of their modules, right? They use kind of other platforms which most of you are might be aware of to kind of take help from that. But ultimately, they are kind of finishing the solution. That is what their manager, their leaders care about. So that is what I would say, that focus on developing that skill of trying to use how to maximize the tools which are available. And then what I said at the start, right? How do you understand the problem, what your stakeholder is giving? How do you break it down? And how do you box them into a solvable problem, right? Because there has to be a tangible outcome, because the companies are not very patient on, if you say that, okay, I'm doing research, they'll wait for 1 month, then even at the end of one quarter, if you say you're doing research, at the end of 1 year you're doing research, I mean, what's the outcome? Even a good research has tangible outcomes, right? So that is what they care about. So set that up from the start, like, okay, this is what I'm trying to solve, and then try to find the means. In that way, like, coding is just one part. See, then, okay, so Saurabh, I'll want to spend one more minute, because see, coding is just one part. Okay, that is just one small block. Once you have done that, you have to get it tested on holdout data. Then you have to get it deployed in the larger system for consumption. You have to understand who will be consuming it. All of that is equally important, because if you have built a very sophisticated system, no one is using it, I mean, it's of no use. So so some folks might be good at coding, but they have no clue where it's going to be used. So that's also not good, right? So you have to have knowledge of all these aspects. So now you would think that, okay, how can I have knowledge of all these aspects? So, and how can I be an expert of all these aspects? Exactly, you cannot be an expert of all these aspects. So that's where you have to use certain tools which are available to help you, like, uh, come up with a well-rounded solution. For example, there are MLOps tools which help you do efficient deployment, and then monitor that, okay, how are the models performing after they are deployed, right? So that's what, like, coming back to your initial question, if you're not good at one part, try to be smart enough to use what is available to overcome your shortcoming in that area.
Wonderful.
Hope that helps.
I'm sure. We can take somebody's Gur Simran. She has a question. Sir, can you please guide, like, after BTech in CSC, and if I have to start with DS, where should I start from, and what is the roadmap for that?
Okay. So at
Similar
Edorer
questions,
also
Devesh,
we are,
actually.
yeah. Yes, so there are a lot of similarities, but good that you guys are so kind of right after, even after doing BTech CS, you are so passionate about this field, which is good to know. So at Edorer also we are trying to build a roadmap, but since you have asked this question right now, let me take a stab at it. So, see, I partly answered in my previous question that there are different components to data science. It's not just like if you are good at coding, you can be a brilliant data scientist. Obviously, you can, but there are other components. So, when our roadmap will try to make sure that that roadmap focuses on all of these aspects, like the consumption part, how your solution is going to be consumed, how do you ascertain like this solution is good or not. I'm going reverse actually, because I have spoken on the earlier part, so I'm trying to go from consumption to the previous, like the inception part. So consumption, then like prior to that you have to see whether this is even worthy of consumption or not, so you have to test it in real, like simulated real life scenario. And then prior to that you have to check it on holdout data, right? So that also has a roadmap, like how do you test, because there are different kinds of solutions, how do you test in a well-rounded way whether the solution is working. Prior to that you have to actually kind of build a robust solution. So I talked about linear, non-linear. So there are some very like robust set of algorithms which helps you if the data is linear, if the data is non-linear. You have to learn about them. Prior to that, you have to actually love your data. I mean, most of you would have heard that saying, love your data and it will love you back by giving those insights, right? So you have to really kind of equip yourselves with the tools, with the skill to kind of break the data, dissect the data, understand the data, right? Coming to then even the previous step, like you have to understand how to get that data to you. So there are kind of, so most of you would have heard about SQL. There are other data querying tools as well. So how do you get that data from different sources in one place, right? But last but not the least, the most important part, again, I'm bringing it up again and again because from my experience, I can tell you that that is the most important part. If you'll be on a call with a very senior leader in your company, where she will be giving you 25 minutes of her time, she'll be explaining you the business problem and the pain point which she's going through. So it is your duty to find out by asking the right questions in that 25 minutes so that you can frame that problem statement in your mind, and then you will know what data will be required to solve that. And then you have to ask in your 10 minutes, do you have these data sources, because I want to proceed in this way, right? So that is how you need to think. So that thinking development has to come from a good mentor or a good course, or by your, I mean, it's okay, let me be very honest, it is very difficult to develop that overnight, so it takes time to develop that intuition. But that should be your motto, to develop that intuition, to convert that pain point into a solvable data science problem. Okay, I hope that covers some of
I think
the
that
questions.
really does. So, guys, so I understand that everybody has that question. A lot of people are again asking, after BCA, should I pursue data science, business analytics? Again, questions like, what should be my roadmap? And for that only, mm, Edorer has partnered with leaders like Devesh, and there's so many others from different companies like Amazon, Accenture, Adobe, Google, and whatnot. And all of us have come together with a boot camp. And this boot camp can actually help you build a career from scratch in business analytics or data science. And depending on what your inclination is, if you think that, okay, yes, you have that mathematical and coding bent of mind, you can delve into deeper concepts of data science. And like Devesh said, if you, what's more important and the important aspect of data analytics is storytelling, how you understand the business problem, the business challenge at hand, and how you put the data that you have at hand, how you basically build a model to collect the right data, even if you have the data, how you cleanse it up, and how you actually work on that data, what regression models you put, or what tools that you use. All of that is what we're going to discuss in an international boot camp, which is 8 days abroad and 8 weeks online. We have a little video of that. We'll go through that. We'll also go through the roadmap and the curriculum. And we'll also talk about scholarships and everything else that we have come up for this bootcamp. So quickly running you through that video. So like we said, there are two locations. One is Singapore and Malaysia. The first 8 days you actually spend, there are multiple cohorts. You can actually join a July 10 to 7 cohort or August 14 to 21 cohort. Or you can actually join the Amsterdam and Berlin cohort, which is July 15 to 22 and August 14 to 21. Yeah, next step. 8 days abroad and 8 weeks online. Like we said, the online, once, why we have the abroad leg first. The abroad, and why do we have it abroad? That's the key question. Why we are having you to start your journey in data science or business analytics on a foreign land is, and these are not like just any foreign land. This is like Singapore and Amsterdam in Europe. These are like the business hubs for ecosystem in startups, business, and also for a lot of international business analysts and consultants. When you are at these locations, you'll be meeting so many companies, startups, and trainers and leaders and mentors would be like Devesh and so many other. I'll talk about that. And then once you're done, so the idea why you should have it on campus 8 days in that, you will be visiting a university, you'll be visiting a startup, you'll be visiting data science and business analyst leaders from those areas. And you'll also know how you can yourself settle abroad and also get an international opportunity. We'll discuss all of that. These 8 days are basically before you actually start learning any skill. What's most important is that you should be highly motivated about that skill and that topic. You should know what is the final result of this. What am I going to become? What's my career is going to look like? What kind of salary will I get? What kind of opportunities will exist for me? Will it open doors? Will it make me a better entrepreneur, for instance, in the future, if I want to do that? All of that. So I think, before learning a skill is not a big thing. I can tell you that. You can really learn it, but the motivation behind it, the reason, your why you're learning this skill is the most important thing. And that is what is going to be established in these 8 days. It's a very intense and yet fun boot camp. You spend time with great professors in this domain, great business leaders in this domain, great working professionals, and a lot of students from different cultures, from different different universities in that city will be part of that boot camp. And that learning with them, that brainstorming, that international exposure is definitely going to change your mindset. Once you're back, we're going to put you through an 8 weeks online module. We'll also take you what is going to be the curriculum. And these 8 weeks, your sessions will be on Saturday and Sunday, so that we understand a lot of you are students. These are going to be sessions are going to be Saturday and Sundays. Trainers and mentors are going to be like Devesh and like other people as well. I'm going to show you who are those mentors and trainers. Open for everyone. Okay, any domain, any discipline, any year. A lot of case studies approach in this training. You can also show this as this is an important piece. You can also show this as an industrial project or your internship or a project, and we'll help you with that. All the certification, everything. We're already partnering with many universities. If you want, we can also speak to your university. Make sure we'll help you. In fact, a lot of universities are also giving credits, which means that you do not have to pick an elective course in your university. Once you complete this boot camp, it can also give you a credit in your curriculum. We can talk about that. So that's not a problem. This is an important thing. I'm like, this is an important slide. Who are the people that you're going to learn from? You're going to learn from people like Preksha, who is a very senior business analyst and a data science leader at PTC. Devesh himself, he's in this masterclass. He has been into Fidelity, Mercedes, and Bosch. Arjun has been a very promising leader. And these are the people who are going to be with you at the bootcamp. Like, Arjun is going to join you in Singapore. Nandita is going to join you at Amsterdam. Preksha will be in Singapore. Ritvik will also be joining you. And there's so many other business leaders from different companies who would be with you, mentoring you all the way, helping you build your fundamentals strong so that you can actually take it up. When these people will take your capstone project or your sessions, the whole curriculum will be delivered by these leaders themselves. No doubt about it. Like I said, extremely fun bootcamp with immense learning. Now, I would like to take you through the curriculum quickly of this bootcamp. And Devesh, I would want you to, probably speak a few words about each and every module that we have. I'm just quickly sharing my screen. And then we'll take up questions again, guys. Because this will answer all the questions like roadmap and all of that. Everything will be answered with these. So, like I said, this is the schedule for this 8 days abroad and 8 weeks online bootcamp. We will, once you apply on the bootcamps page, we will share this entire schedule with you, like what's going to happen at the 8 days. Like you can see, of course, it begins with a lot of sightseeing and all of that. Then there are sessions. You will have a session at NUS Singapore, here in Singapore, which is one of the largest and the biggest university and the #1 university in Asia and 8th in the world. You'll also visit UPM Malaysia, which is the #1 university in Malaysia. So 4 days in Singapore, 4 days in Kuala Lumpur. You will visit, like you can see, you will visit companies, you will visit startups, you will have a lot of iconic factory visits as well. And then there are business analytics sessions. You'll also have a lot of ask me anything sessions where, a lot of leaders will come sit in front of you, 4 or 5 people, and you can throw your questions at them. They'll be happy to answer. There'll be a lot of networking mixers that will happen. That really changes a lot of your perspective. Same continues with Kuala Lumpur as well. And during this trip, we will take care of everything: your flights, your visa, your stay, your food, everything. In fact, there'll also be a lot of night outs with your mentors and trainers. And so it's going to be a lot of fun. All the conversation is going to be around data science and business analytics and what they've done in their career and networking and all of that. Okay, now, like I said, 8 weeks, 8 days abroad and 8 weeks online. On sessions are on Saturday and Sunday, 3 hours each, preferably 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. What you will see in those sessions and learn, you'll have a lot of business analytics and data science training. You'll have AMAs, you will have master classes, you have case studies, you will have projects, you will have mentorship, you'll have capstone project. There is going to be one-on-one career counseling, how you can actually build your career after you graduate, or if you have a couple of years before you graduate, career coaching and networking. Now, this is how your curriculum is going to look like. Like Devesh said, You have a management aspect, which was the storytelling aspect to business analytics and data science, and you have a technical core aspect where you actually learn coding, or where you learn regressions and statistics and mathematical modeling, and a lot of AI and other tools that are available and used for analytics. We'll talk about all of that. So these are the modules. uh, I have the first four modules here listed. Then you have, so I'll just quickly take you through them. One is the understanding business and data analytics. It's so important to understand your concepts and why you are learning this, which is why we have this module two, which is like business problem solving. All your skills are basically aimed at solving a problem, whether for your employer or yourself, if you are self-employed or your own company. So how do you actually address all of that with this skill is what is going to be established in this module. Then, of course, like Devesh said, you have the data. How do you cleanse that data? That's an important thing. You do that. You also do a lot of MS Excel understanding. You'll do a lot of SQL and Python as well. Now, see, even if you do not have a coding background, don't worry about it. We'll teach you in a way that even if you do not have that background, there'll be a lot of refreshers as well for students who do not have idea about such things. So you will not feel left out during the whole boot camp that somebody knows more, somebody knows less. We will have like separate refreshers apart from the core mainstream boot camp sessions. Like you will understand what Python is, and we can delve deeper. And I'll show you there are some optional modules for students who are mighty interested in more of Python or SQL programming, or let's say getting deeper into data engineering. We will have separate modules for you guys as well. So you'll do ADA, you'll do statistics, which is so important, predictive analytics, how do you come up with decisions using data. We talk about data driven decisions. All of that will be covered. Then, of course, data visualization with Tableau or Power BI, or like AWS quick sites. And there's so many other tools that Devesh also spoke about. We will cover all of that. So at the end of the boot camp, you will know how to actually use those tools. And then even if the boot camp ends, you are a lifelong learner with us. We will keep doing problem solving sessions, or let's say you have doubt clearing sessions with mentors. You can continue to do that throughout your journey. You'll also learn how ML is used in data science and business analytics. You will understand the Gen AI tools. You will also understand what is applied analytics. That's very important, which is again the use cases of what you've learned. And then most importantly, you learn a lot of best practices and hacks. This is something which nobody's going to tell you. This is something which textbooks cannot actually tell you. This is something when you actually speak to mentors and leaders who actually spend time, years in that domain. And that's what they will tell you. Hey, if you want to start with this problem, please avoid these roadblocks. Do not do this. If you want to really start with this, this is how I did it. This is how this will work for you. Those kinds of insights from people who have done it will actually help you. Then the most important skill here is the storytelling with data. This is a massively important module, because with this storytelling with data module, you will be able to understand, like I said, okay, you have a problem with it's your company, you're a consultant or a business analyst or a data science leader, or whichever. You can speak to multiple stakeholders. You can speak to the head of the company, and he or she has a problem and they want the team to address it. So how you as a business analyst or as a data science leader, how do you break them down, interact with multiple team of data science leaders? And at each level, your communication, your storytelling is different, because when you're actually selling it to the leadership, your storytelling is different. Okay, when you're talking to the business analyst or let's say other data science leaders who are going to put a lot of tech into it, your storytelling to them is different. Of course, outcomes are important. And then the outcomes, how do you convey those outcomes? What is the analysis? What are the best decisions that can actually be taken based on those outcomes? It's so important. So this is a big art. Storytelling and everything is important. So it's important with data science as well. And this is what you're going to learn. And then most importantly, everyone is going to complete a capstone project. These are like real projects. Like I said, every module and session is going to be with case studies. in different domains, in retail, in manufacturing, in e-commerce, and whatnot. So you will have a diverse exposure to every vertical, different use cases with actual data. Some of it are, of course, a lot of dummy data as well, so that you understand what are those problems that are experienced in those domains and how you can actually address those. So again, giving you a diverse perspective and a very in-depth exposure to this domain. And then, of course, like I said, there'll be some optional modules for the highly interested guys and people, like data engineering. If you really want to delve deeper, we'll have an optional module on data engineering, machine learning with Python, NLP, and deep learning. We'll also have DSA, which is data structures and algorithms, and how, if you actually want to take this up as an engineer or somebody who's really interested in coding, we can do that. Big data, because of course, you as a data science leader or as a business analyst, you should understand uh, how big data, massive data in different companies, how we actually process that, come up with solutions. Like, think about companies like Amazon, and that's what even Ritvik is going to talk about tomorrow. His masterclass is very important. Don't forget to attend that. He's going to talk about how companies like Amazon have a massive amount of data from its users. How do they use that data to come up with solutions and influence your business and influence your buying decisions? How are they influencing consumer behavior using data analytics? So very interesting use cases, and we'll talk more about them. So this is essentially your curriculum. This is also your roadmap, whether you are part of this boot camp or not, but still, this is what you should essentially follow. And of course, mentors are the most important people in your journey. So yes, so if you are really interested, again, yeah, quick share again. If you're really interested in, can you please confirm if you can see my screen, Devesh?
Yeah, we can sort of.
Okay, cool. So when you go to Edorer and when you go to boot camps, you will see two boot camps available. One is this business analytics and data science. It has all the details about this program, what you will learn, why you should learn this, who are going to teach you, everything. You know, the mentorship, what you will learn, all the tools. A lot of people are asking, what are the tools that we're going to learn in this? So you will see all of that.
So sort of we can see your downloads. Is that what you want to show?
No,
or?
one sec. Can you see it now? One sec. Let me quickly. I think I shared something else. Okay. Do you see the bootcamp page now?
It's coming up. Yes, we can now.
Cool. So this is the bootcamp page, guys. So you go to bootcamps on Edorer, go to edorer.com, go to bootcamps, and these are the bootcamps that are available. We also have, these are certification bootcamps, because at the end of this program, 8 weeks, 8 days abroad and 8 weeks online, you will basically be certified. You can also participate in our international immersion bootcamps, which are more towards just experiencing startups, business, and innovation in these cities and countries. When you click on a specific bootcamp, you'll get to know all the details, what cohorts are going, who is eligible, the program highlights, why you should take this bootcamp up, and then each and every details about what are you actually going to do in this bootcamp, what you will learn, the tools and everything, who is going to teach you, and then all the other details. And you'll also see why that particular city, why Singapore and Malaysia, why Amsterdam and Berlin. You will see all of that. And then, like you can see here, you will have AI and data meets with this networking session. You know, when you are in those 8 days, this is how your days are going to look like. You'll have lunch with business leaders, you'll have a company visit, and you will have your session in business analytics and data science at that company. You will have innovation tour, you will have a startup brunch, you will sit with startup leaders and other leaders in that domain in business analytics and data science, and they'll talk with you. If you're really interested about entrepreneurship, startups, and funding, you'll also have a session on with investors. We call it Coffee with Investors. You will actually visit an accelerator and an incubator. You'll also have a masterclass at a university tour, which is NUS Singapore, in your case, in Singapore. You'll also meet some Singapore's revolutionary companies. Of course, there's an iconic beauty tour as well, and then a couple of other fun. Like I said, you have sessions in the morning until 4 p.m. And after that, it's going to be real fun. And you also have a lot of night outs with your mentors and everybody. So this is what the page talks about. Your stay and food, everything is covered. These are like past glimpses of students who have actually visited these boot camps earlier. Has been a lot of fun. You have some FAQs, go through them, key resources, what we'll suggest, and there are multiple others that we'll talk about. Why this is important, because of course it's going to be a life-changing experience for you. The program cost is also given. You can also get a no-cost EMI as well if you really can't pay the whole thing. And this thing covers everything: to and fro flights, visa, tuition fee, food and drinks, accommodation, travel, everything. And then there, of course, scholarships available, group discounts available. If you have other friends and others who are actually want to be part of this boot camp, they can actually join us. You can speak to us. To show your interest, please fill the form here, and our team will connect with you and answer your queries. Okay, you can also connect with us on WhatsApp, like you can see here, and we'll be happy to take your queries. So, guys, these are the things. Now, coming back to the questions. Devesh, let's pick some questions here.
Yes. So very well summarized and explained by Saurabh. So let us get to the questions. Saurabh, one question for you. What about the certificate? So Sanjana is asking.
Yes, so the certificate is going to come from Edorer and also from the universities that you visit. So for instance, if you visit any of Singapore, the certificate is going to come from them. If you visit UPM Malaysia, the certificate is going to come from them. And like I said, certificate, of course, is important. What is also more important is what's the learning. And the learning, you can understand, comes from, and then of course, we can also work with your university, like I said, and we can actually help you get a credit. So which means that you can actually drop one elective in your current university. Or you can also showcase this. A lot of students who are actually going on this boot camp, they're also showcasing this as an internship or as a project. And you will be given an internship certificate as well for this, so that you can meet any academic objective in your college or university. I hope that answers your question. Guys, I understand if some people think that, okay, oh, I don't have that kind of money, but think about this. This is not at all expensive. I mean, like, imagine the kind of money they're actually spending in your current education. Okay, that's the first thing. And what it is going to get you, and what this bootcamp is going to get you. This is going to put you in a very different league compared to your peers. Okay, an international exposure, and then learning one of the hottest skill with some of the best leaders. That's a very rare opportunity. A very rare opportunity. So those who understand the value of this, we're looking for those kind of people. Okay.
Yeah, I would just want to add. So, see, we are not getting into comparisons from different institutes, but see, the way we have constructed these courses, you would have seen when Saurabh was presenting that it has been carefully curated with different kinds of use cases, and we are trying to cover the fundamentals as well as the storytelling part as well as the thinking part, right? That, and believe me, I have seen a lot of curriculums across, and I've been part of designing curriculums for some universities, and the kind of variedness and the kind of width and depth this curriculum covers, like, it will be hard to beat this. So that is one thing I want to point out. So there is one question from Satvik. I think this will be kind of relevant for many of them. So shall we take it up?
Yeah, please go ahead. Let's go ahead with the questions. Yes.
So, entry level for fresher in data science. What is the way tips to get entry, right? So, okay. So yeah, this is a question which we do get quite often. So see, again, coming back to the course, the curriculum, what sort of was walking you through, right? So the different kinds of use cases which are there after you have built your fundamentals, these use cases can actually be shown in your CV as well, right? So I'm thinking by wearing a interviewer hat here. So when I'll be looking at the resume, I would know that, hey, this person is a fresher. I cannot expect an industry experience for this guy or a girl, right? So, but he or she has been exposed to these kind of different problem statements. So this will be good enough to kind of get that initial like interview spot for yourself, secure that spot for yourself. And then it is up to like how much you have learned, how much you have really kind of applied yourself to get yourself through, right? And that is where also we'll help you to kind of bring you up to that level. Okay, I hope that answers the question. Okay, so how to do internships in this field or related to this field, Prachi is asking. So as I said, that not all of us are lucky in securing a very good internship in a premier company, right? So again, coming back to the curriculum, so you would have seen some of the use cases. Like one was like a stock analysis and how do you extract insights from that use case. So many finance companies would like actually notice that quite a lot, that hey, this person has done this, and you can actually write down in a bulleted way what are some of the actionable insights you came up with, right? So that is something which a company wants. For tomorrow, if you are trying to build your own consulting firm, right? So in fact, that is something which your clients would want, that hey, this is the data. For again going back to that stock analysis example, this is the data. Now can you tell me which are the top companies in this sector, right, which are high growth? So then this kind of work which you would have done in this boot camp would actually set the foundation for that. Okay, so if you're not getting a good internship, I mean, no need to be like all worked up. So this is something which is equivalent.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, this bootcamp is actually going to give you, opportunities for these kind of internships. Because when you actually visit companies through us, startups and others also, specifically in this domain, you will be certified for each and every visit. And all of that is actually a feather in your cap. It's basically a big point on your resume, that stands on your resume, that you have actually done this. So, like I said, it also adds up to a big internship. It also adds a big internship value to your journey. So, yeah, you don't have to worry about that. Devesh said it's so difficult to get mentors. Okay. These are very busy people. We have really worked very hard to get these people on board so that they can actually interact with you, train you. But these are the people, I can tell you, who are also one of the biggest filters that we had when we were actually creating the team for this bootcamp is, who are the people who are passionate about mentoring. Devesh is a very passionate person when it comes to mentoring, and similarly, all the other people who are part of this bootcamp. And I think that's such an important thing. You want to give back to community. You want to give back to young people who really want to make it big in that domain. So that's where the whole difference lies. Okay, so we can take a couple of other questions also. If we scroll up on the chat, there are questions. In fact, we have a question from Parambata Chatterjee. How to tally this course along with normal college curriculum? I'm currently in third year, last sem, so having no time left nearly for campusing and all, how to manage both way. Okay, I understand there will be many students who will be, of course, for first year and second year students, you have a lot of time. You can flex your muscles and you can really learn immensely and build a strong foundation in business analytics and data science with this bootcamp. Coming down to third year and fourth year students, I understand you have campus placements ahead. But think about this: before you hit your campus placements, when you actually talk about this experience in the interview, and I'm sure Devesh would agree with this because Devesh also does a lot of hiring. When you actually talk about this, that okay, I have learned business analytics, and I was part of this boot camp, and I've visited these many companies and startups, and at a foreign country like Singapore or some other country, that immediately puts you apart. It separates you, makes you stand out compared to all your peers. It really changes the whole mindset about you in that interview. So this is going to help you in your campus placements as well. And like I said, of course, if you want to learn a skill, you have to put time, you have to give time to it. So yes, you will have to really jack up a little bit, find more time to learn, because at the end of the day, you want to learn the skill as well. Let me tell you, even when I was doing my engineering at IIT, there's so many courses we did, more than 48 courses over 8 semesters. How many courses are we actually, utilizing and putting to use today? Probably not even 70 to 80%. Probably to 80% of the curriculum that we've learned, we're not even implementing. Of course, that was great to give us perspective. That was great to give us insights, but then we're not actually implementing it. All the courses that you're actually currently doing in your semesters, some of them are really helpful to build your foundations, but a lot of them are actually not going to help you master the domain, or let's say be a domain leader, or let's say amplify your career. This particular bootcamp, this particular skill is actually going to amplify your career. So whether it is your campus placements ahead, or whether you really want to make a switch to a different and new exciting domain, this definitely is going to help big time.
Yeah, so I would like to add one thing which Saurabh already stated, but I can't stress on that enough. That, see, one of the reasons why this is also being done in international locations is that if you will see most of the companies today, you all would agree that we are living in a very global environment. So all of the companies today are working in a multicultural way to solve large business problems, right? So this bootcamp will also kind of prep you up for that, like being exposed to different cultures and how do you kind of take the best of different cultures, combine the, like, synergize those energies, and then solve the problem at large, right? So this is one
Absolutely.
aspect which goes unnoticed, but this is something you will only get to hone when you are exposed to that multicultural environment. And this is an opportunity which you will get if you take part in this international bootcamp.
Absolutely. In fact, that's so true. We have so many examples from previous boot camps when students came back, the kind of, respect they got from their own peers in their own college, from their faculty members, everything really changed for them. I mean, like, their own personal confidence, everything changed. They had a very clear mindset. Okay, this is the domain I really want to excel in. So all of that really changed. So as a person, that monotony in last couple of semesters or years of your education, that really goes away with this. Okay, so that changes the whole thing. A motivated you in any domain is way better than a demotivated you in your favorite domain. So I think, this is definitely the most happening domain. This is definitely going to create the best, define the best in you. So obviously you're going to get the best results from yourself post this. Okay. Okay, Abhishek agrees. Yes, Abhishek, absolutely. So I think, we address the questions of the curriculum, the roadmap, the certification, whether you should do it or not, because some people think you are a BBA, BCA, BTech, MTech, whatever. Like we said, it is domain agnostic. You can be from any department, any domain. You just have the inclination, towards solving real life problems using insights from data is what is all wanted. That's the only eligibility. You have 60% in your 10th and 12th or not is irrelevant. Trust me, those barriers are already broken. Companies are not really looking, companies are hiring people, Devesh. Companies are hiring people who are dropouts.
Yeah, yeah. And
Skill is
if
supreme. So
yeah, and if someone is still looking at those barriers, then I mean, all powers to them, but they, I don't come across these days those
true.
companies.
I think we also have a lot of agriculture students, so we can take this question as well from Mukesh. Sir, I am an agriculture plant pathology research scholar. How can I use data science from good source and result for plant disease survey in minimum time period during cropping season? I think you also gave this example.
Yeah, yeah. So this is very relevant to the example which I gave. Very interesting problem, but I'll try to answer it again. So, this is something which is not just related to plant diseases, but I'm able to answer this from my healthcare background as well. So, where if you can actually use data science or insights from data, as sort of mentioned, to actually tell the disease at an earlier stage rather than a later stage, right? Because when the symptoms start appearing, right, and if your data is having those symptoms, so you'll be able to map it to your historical data that, hey, at the earlier stage with the onset of the disease, these were the symptoms, which later turned out to be this magnified disease, right? So you can then actually see that, okay, we are at this stage right now, the symptoms are looking like this. What is the probability of this becoming a very severe disease? Or what is the probability of this being cured now that we have this kind of a symptom at this stage? So that is a very kind of breakthrough which data science has brought in the medical field, not just in plant science, but in the medical field right? So there are data science packages specifically for plants, for even human medical field. But as I told that 80% of the problem statements you'll be able to solve using generalist AI/ML approaches, right? So you don't need specific algorithms for solving like plant diseases problems. You can break that problem in a format that even like general machine learning algorithms can solve it. You'll be able to predict whether this disease is going to propagate or not, right? So I hope that answers the question.
True.
Okay.
There was also one question. I think we
Thank you.
missed it. I just want you to answer this. Is like, how can I use data science of in government sector?
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, see, as I think Saurabh and I mentioned that data science was, and now even more, is becoming domain agnostic, department agnostic, and here I should add sector agnostic, like be it private sector or public sector, right? I'll give you an example because this example you will be able to relate to it, even though it is not like 100% government, but all of you would be knowing UPI and Aadhaar, right? So the government is working with an agency which is like in a public private kind of a partnership, but the problems which they are trying to solve are not very complicated, but they are at scale, they become very complicated, and but they are very impactful. For example, UPI frauds, right? So some of you unfortunately would have experienced that yourself, that people give you a link and then they ask you to pay say 5 rupees or so, and then like the money is wiped out of your account, right? So now they are trying to come up with a simple rule that you will not be able to get money by sending links. You can only like receive money by a specific kind of feature from UPI. Links will only work for other things. Like there are different use cases which they have come up with, but not to receive money. So a fraudster will not be able to give you a link and say, "Hey, transfer me using this link," right? So this looks to be a simple rule, but like it will solve a lot of problems. So that has actually come from data, right? So they did a data analysis, and 90% of frauds happening around UPI are around receiving of money using these fraudulent links. Right? So already these things are being applied by the government. Even like health insurance, like sorry, I'm missing the name of the program which government runs, where there is a upper cap of 5 lakh of health insurance given to like the not so fortunate section of the society, right? So for that health claims, they are doing a validation check, right? So like trying to weed out the outliers. So that program is actually happening. So I think it is with IBM what they are doing, and also partly with TCS. So, so the government is already very actively working on advanced analytics for some of the use cases. Even your many of us, if not all, like file income tax returns, right? So government is using data analytics, in fact, advanced data analytics techniques to find out whether there are fraudulent returns or not, whether the tax claims are genuine or not, right? So, and that our finance minister has actually said that in the interview that the department is actually leveraging data science in this space. So it's already happening in the government sector.
True. Uh, one more question. I think we missed that somehow. The from Nida. I'm a data science final year student. Can you tell me what additional courses we need to take that will help in my resume?
Okay, so I
Already a
mean,
data science student, yeah.
yeah, so you are already a data science student, right, Saurabh?
Yeah, she's a student, yes.
Okay,
Final year.
so final year. So I'm sure you would have covered some of the fundamental courses like what Saurabh was showing, but still, like there will be courses like sort of short storytelling, data engineering, because that is one part which is missed out because only algorithms in data science are taught. But if you work in real life, like there'll be a lot of data engineering skills, hacking skills, which sort of was talking about, right? That will be required in actually solving the business problem. That time, nobody will come and teach you those things. They'll be expecting you to know all of that, or develop that by yourself, right? So that is something which the curriculum covers. It tries to look at it from a holistic angle, right? So just to come back to your question, so there are multiple things which you will find in the curriculum, but data engineering, storytelling, visualization, all of this are something which you can focus upon. Now, I can also tell you from a technical point of view, from a data science point of view, I'm sure Bayesian machine learning is something which they might not have covered, right? But I told you that in one of my experiences in a company, like my team and I, we had to build a product whose foundation was Bayesian machine learning because non-Bayesian machine learning, which is frequentist machine learning, was not able to solve it, right? So, I mean, those are some other parts of machine learning which are not usually covered in universities, which you'll find that you can dedicate time and cover that up because those are also useful. Okay.
So true. There's one more question. We already 15 minutes past time, so this is the last question that we'll take. Rohit has a question. Sir, I am MBA first year student. Can you guide me for any additional courses to pursue career in France? Rohit, do you want to ask this question? Because even I'm not really sure. What do you mean by a career in France? You're saying that you want to get an international job in France? Because, like I said, if you're looking at an international opportunity in Europe or in Southeast Asia, Singapore, for instance, or Kuala Lumpur, in this bootcamp, we'll talk about it. In this bootcamp, there will be a specific session where you will meet experts. Okay, you said, okay, Rohit said he meant finance, not France. Okay, great, Rohit. So, yes, so the question, Devesh, is
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
let me go back to this
Yeah,
question.
I actually read it
Okay,
now.
cool. Yeah, please.
So he's seeking guidance on any additional courses to pursue career in finance, right? So see, first of all, like I assume that you are also interested in business analytics and a bit of data science, and that you want to kind of leverage in the field of finance, right? So not pure finance because like I work in this field, so I know that. So even in finance, like I mean, there are huge swaths of data which you have to crunch and come up with insights. So some of the courses which will really help you distinguish yourself from other finance folks would be business analytics and applied statistics, right? So where you don't need to be a PhD in stats, but you need to cover those parts of stats which will help you crunch the data. For example, like a kurtosis, skewness. I'm just bringing up some terms, it is okay if you don't know it. So like a mean median mode, you would know that, but you also have to see that if you look at the data, and if the median is very different from the mean, that should immediately kind of give you a signal that there are outliers out there in the data, which you have to cater to. So these are some things which will really help you distinguish your career from the other finance folks who are not good in business analytics or applied stats. Because other courses in finance, I'm sure, I mean, you would know the names, right? So I don't need to tell you. I mean, finance has been a well-established field for like God knows when. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I'm sure this is helpful. You can drop your comment in chat. I have pulled up NWL. I don't know a name, so please ask your question and please tell us your name first. NWL. Okay, I'm muting you. If you want to ask your question in person, please unmute and ask. Okay. Okay, guys. So Kailan Srivalli and Mohammed Ansari, your questions are like, can you suggest few of the resources for data science streams for BTech second year students? We will also address these questions, guys, tomorrow in our masterclass with Ritvik. You're asking what courses do we study in the first year, and so that can help me with campus placements and all of that. After BCA, which is best course, data science and analytics. Of course, after BCA, like I said, if you are more interested in coding and technical part of it, you can definitely go delve deeper into data science, but you do not really differentiate. Let me tell you this: business analytics and data science are not two different poles. It's just that they both, at the end of the day, try to find a solution to a problem. But then it's just the role is a little different. Data science can actually be more of tools and technology behind it, and business analytics can be more of storytelling and understanding the problem and interacting with other stakeholders, which involves data science leaders. So, guys, it's basically your inclination. And if you really want to understand more about that, you can join tomorrow's and all those master classes later as well. I think we've already held Devesh for more than 20 minutes past time. So, Devesh, thank you so much for this masterclass. I think all of us really learned. Students also learned a lot from this session. And guys, there's one little announcement. This is these master classes are a part of data science and business analytics series. So as you can see, please go to Edorer Masterclasses and you can see all the masterclasses ahead. Tomorrow we have a masterclass with Ritvik. He is an amazing business analyst with Amazon. Then we have with Arjun Srinivasan on 18th, next Saturday, who will help you, who will make you understand how you actually go from zero to pro, and again delve deeper into the roadmap. And then we have Nandita Krishnan, how I kickstarted. She will talk about her own journey, in career and data, and how she made a career in data science. She's an excellent data science engineer at Adobe. So these are some amazing people, and more, master classes will be announced very soon. So be on the lookout, subscribe on this page, and you will always be updated about our upcoming master classes. So see you for tomorrow's session as well. And thank you so much. Thanks everyone for participating. You will receive a video recording of this session. An email will be sent to you. It'll be available on our YouTube channel. Plus, you'll also receive a certificate of participation for this masterclass. And if you have any questions, you can go to about the bootcamp. Please go to the website, apply, and our team will connect with you and help you out. So, guys, hold on your questions for tomorrow's masterclass. Do participate tomorrow at 12 p.m., 12 noon with Ritvik, and we will take up all these questions. So thanks, everyone. Thanks, Devesh. Thanks for being such a great speaker and a motivator. And thank you so much. And we really look forward to meeting you in the bootcamp.
Thank you, Saurabh. Thank you all of you for asking great questions. Have a nice day. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Enjoy your weekend. Take care. Bye-bye.